See, defensive backs are wired differently than players at any position in any team sport I've covered. They're just, good morning to you. Good Tuesday morning. I'm Dejan Kovacevic of DK Pittsburgh Sports. This is Daily Shot of Steelers presented by FanDuel. It comes your way bright and early every weekday if you're into hockey and or baseball. I also offer daily shots of Penguins and Pirates in the same place that you found this. I spent my Monday afternoon over there with the football team on the south side, and I'd committed to myself upon driving over there that I was going to dedicate however much access there'd be to however many players to try to focus on the secondary because, and I spoke with exactly 4 of them, all 4 who'd been out and available, each of them one-on-one, so there wouldn't be, there'd be at least less of a chance that the answers would come across as, forced or phony. That can happen. It's just human nature in front of a camera and a whole bunch of microphones. It's not the same thing. Darius Slay, Juan Thornhill, Brandon Eccles, Chuck Clark. And with each guy that I talked to, it was almost like they had rehearsed before they had talked to me. Like this was something that they were prepared for, which of course was not the case. But every time I'd ask, hey, what do you guys need to do to get back to where you were, say, against Cleveland or before that against the Vikings, the answers would sound almost like a carbon copy of this that I got from Slay.
Shoot, man, just got to keep putting together, man. Each and every day, I go out here and work, man, and build off something, man. I know we got to go in here and look ourselves in the mirror, and, correct our mistakes, and be ready to compete, man. Them guys was one of the best in the game, so we just got to go out there and just play more ball, play together, play as a unit, and get after it.
Now, mind you, I'm not picking on the answers. The way this stuff works, reporters ask the questions, they give the answers. They're free to do that however it is that they please. But I think that there was maybe a part of me that was wondering, entering this, if there'd be some show of either disillusionment or contrition or even just concern about how things have gone, because this wasn't a one-game thing. The Steelers rank 31st in the NFL in pass defense. They didn't achieve that status just in Cincinnati. They've been giving up a ton of passing yards. And when none of those things came from any of these guys, I started thinking instead about who these players at these positions are and why they don't conduct themselves like anybody else in sports. Not even wide receivers. Wide receivers have the diva reputation, and it's largely deserved. But there's a big difference between being a diva and what I'm describing here, which is basically just having unassailable confidence. That's who DBs are. That's who DBs, I think, feel they need to be, given what their profession is. Their profession is measured almost wholly on failure. Think about it. You're not going to remember who had a big pass breakup. You will with the interceptions, but those are rare for even the very best of the best. But you sure as heck will remember when they get burned, when they get scorched for 6, or when they miss a tackle versus one of the big boys up front missing a tackle, because they can do that and there's still a bunch of people behind them. You do it in the secondary and there's someone wearing stripes who's about to raise both arms in your face. It's different, and I get that. I appreciate that. It's a mostly thankless, predominantly underappreciated job. And that's to the extreme that someone like Ike Taylor, who excelled at it for such a long period of time, is still remembered in these parts, very unfairly so, for the one Denver playoff game in which he got smoked repeatedly. Now, I'm not going to lie. I don't have a takeaway from this. I can go through all the statistics. I can tell you how terrible they are. I can go through the names of these players and tell you all that they've achieved. I can try to find some middle ground there and suggest that it's only fair, even if it's not when you're talking about management, to look at their performances relative to their age. Slay, for example, is 2 years older than any other corner in the league. Maybe there's a time he was just going to drop off. Maybe we're all, myself included, overreacting to a defense facing two phenomenal wide receiving talents in Cincinnati. And when I say phenomenal, I mean as a tandem. Jamar Chase is on a level of his own, but T. Higgins isn't far behind. Maybe these players had not nothing to do with it, but less to do with it than the obviously bad coaching that went into this. And I'm only referring here to schemes and strategies applied by whatever combination of Mike Tomlin and or Terrell Austin, never mind their personnel usage. Maybe because they're a little bit older for their relative positions, they weren't going to do as well on a Thursday night. Hey, I'm not going to be the only one who doesn't bring up the day of the week. I don't know what to think. I don't know that I'll know what to think after they face Jordan Love and the Packers. But I do feel it was worth sharing with you today that what they think is they just need to be their best selves. When we come back, J1Q.
This segment of Daily Shot is brought to you by our good friends at Mike's Beer Bar. They're located on Federal Street, directly across from PNC Park. Mike has more than 500 beers on tap, including from more than 50 local breweries. Stop in and say hello. Tell Mike we sent you. Mike's Beer Bar. Football season's finally here. Time to check out the latest odds, futures, and win totals on the FanDuel Sportsbook. Think the Steelers are headed to the Super Bowl? Lock in your bets today. Whatever your game, FanDuel Sportsbook delivers the latest lines, futures, and specials so you can join in on all the action. For those of you who are doing real work in construction, in a warehouse, if you're a mechanic, you want reliable, comfortable gear to help you perform well on the job. Brunt Workwear's got you. They've got waterproof boots, safety toe, soft toe, pull-on, lace-up, whatever you need. You can wear them to work, and if they're not right for you, send them back. I don't know of any other brand doing that. Brunt was tired of the workwear brands out there cutting corners. You work too hard to be stuck in uncomfortable boots that don't hold up. So they built something better. Boots that are insanely comfortable and built for any job site. For a limited time, our listeners get $10 off. Just head to bruntworkwear.com. Use the code DK Sports and you're good to go. After you order, they'll ask you where you heard about Brunt. Do us a favor here at DK Pittsburgh Sports and tell them it was from this show.
Today's J1Q comes from Scott, who says, DK, to your point on the Monday program about the Steelers' current defensive rankings, despite the talent that they have, these are the quarterbacks they've faced so far. Justin Fields just got benched by the 0-7 Jets. Yes, that happened yesterday. Sam Darnold, in parentheses, decent. Drake May, in parentheses, on the rise, but hardly a superstar. Carson Wentz, in parentheses, currently with his sixth team and had one good year early in his career. Dylan Gabriel, parentheses, rookie third-rounder, and an ancient Joe Flacco. While the upcoming quarterbacks include Jordan Love, Justin Herbert, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson twice, and Jared Goff. This could get really ugly, right? Well, yeah, it could. I'm not getting into predictions. Or even, as you might have noticed from the opening segment, anything remotely resembling intelligent analysis about this secondary, about this pass defense as a whole. And when I say that, and I should have done this in the opening segment, it's never just the secondary. Everything works in tandem. They'll all tell you that when it's going well. Great pass rush makes everybody in the secondary look better. Excellent secondary coverage buys more time for the pass rush. When neither is taking place, that's Cincinnati. I would come to the defense of a couple of the quarterbacks that you cited. Darnold and May are both having really nice seasons. Don't hold against them whatever your perception was going into that game. Look at what they've done over the full course of the year so far in both Seattle and Foxborough. Also, I really think we should lay off of any Flacco criticism for a little while around here. But your point stands. What's ahead is going to be, by any reasonable reckoning, a much greater challenge. Much, much greater challenge. So what has to happen, and I'm going to keep pounding this point, I promise you, through kickoff Sunday night and probably beyond, somebody had to have learned something from what's happened in Cincinnati, what's happened in the games where they gave up a lot of passing yards before that, what's happened when everybody, Fields included, would pick them apart by throwing to the exact same spot on the field again and again and again and again and again. Dead center. Dead bleeping center. Almost as if they were flexing their muscles to show off that they could do it again and again and again and again. They, and I'm specifically pointing here to Mike Tomlin and Terrell Austin, have to whip up something that's different. They have to do whatever they did on offense, flying over to Dublin. They have to do it for the defense. This is not just going to be a pin the ears back thing. This, I probably need not remind you, does not come naturally to this head coach. I was surprised to see it in Ireland related to the offense and to an extent to the defense. There were some different things that were done against the Vikings. But if there's one stubborn trait out of all of Tomlin's stubborn traits that stand out, it's defending his defense. Maybe there will be some clues on that front today. And by that, I don't mean that Tomlin's going to sit there and share his plans or his playbook for Green Bay. I mean that maybe there will be some hint of whatever it is that I was trying to find in all those DBs yesterday. Somebody at least acknowledge that everybody, coaches included, all the way to the top, were terrible in Cincinnati, and indefensibly so. That'd make a fine starting line for the week. I appreciate the question, Scott. I appreciate everybody listening to Daily Shot of Steelers. Don't forget, we have a double shot coming your way at 4 p.m. Eastern today. All the same places that you found this, but predominantly on the DK Pittsburgh Sports app. Hope to see you then.